The tension was already thick when the panel went live. It was one of those nights on primetime cable news, where you could feel something was about to break through the usual back and forth, a shift from noise to something real. The topic was divisive, as always: education funding, government priorities, and rural access to resources. At the center of the debate sat two familiar figures: Jessica Tarlov, known for her sharp intellect and progressive stance, and Senator John Kennedy, a Southern Republican with a signature drawl and a gift for folksy metaphors. The panel was halfway through when the moment happened. Jessica, clearly frustrated, leaned forward and cut through the political posturing with a statement that turned heads. "With all due respect, Senator," she said, her voice firm but unmistakably biting, "some of what you've said tonight defies basic logic. I honestly wonder sometimes, do you really believe this stuff? Or is this just what you think your base wants to hear?" The air changed. The kind of silence that doesn't just happen, it descends. Co-panelists shifted in their seats. One of the producers reportedly held their breath in the control room. Everyone knew that while debates often get heated, accusing a sitting senator of either dishonesty or stupidity, especially on national television, was a line that once crossed, could not be uncrossed. Kennedy didn't flinch. He didn't smirk or shoot back with sarcasm. Instead, he looked at Jessica with a level, unwavering gaze. And then, with the calmness of a man who'd been underestimated his entire life, he began to speak. "Jessica," he said, "I'm going to answer you with more than a soundbite, if you'll let me. Because you're not the first person to question my intelligence, and you probably won't be the last." He paused, not for effect, but because the words he was about to say mattered to him. They weren't rehearsed. They were real. "I was raised in a town where a lot of people never got to finish high school, let alone go to college. My mama worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. My daddy used to tell me, 'Son, book smarts will open doors, but heart smarts will keep them open.' So no, I didn't go to Yale or Harvard. But I studied hard, graduated from Vanderbilt, and earned a law degree from the University of Virginia. I worked my way up, not because I was the smartest man in the room, but because I listened, and I learned." You could hear the emotion beginning to build in his voice. But it wasn't anger, it was conviction. "I've sat in rooms with CEOs, senators, and scholars, and I've also sat on porches with farmers who taught me more about grit and truth than any textbook ever could. You may not like how I talk, or what I believe in, but don't mistake a different style for a lack of substance." By now, even the most cynical viewers could feel the weight of his words. He wasn't just defending himself, he was defending everyone who had ever been dismissed because of their accent, their background, or their slower way of speaking. He was standing up for those who knew that intelligence wasn't always about how quickly you could quote statistics, but how deeply you understood the people you represented. Jessica looked stunned. And not out of shame or guilt, but because she, too, recognized something in Kennedy's voice that you can't fake. Authenticity. "I appreciate your honesty, Senator," she finally said, her voice softer. "May disagree with you politically, but I respect that answer." And just like that, the energy in the studio shifted. Not because someone won the debate, but because someone chose to bring humanity into it. The clip of the exchange went viral. By morning, commentators from both sides of the aisle praised Kennedy's response as one of the most heartfelt and grounded moments in recent political media. People shared it, not for the drama, but for the dignity. And many said it reminded them of something politics had lost along the way: humility. A retired teacher from Georgia commented on the video, "He spoke for all of us who've been talked over, passed by, or laughed at because we didn't speak the right way." Thank you, Senator. In the end, it wasn't about being the smartest person on the panel. It was about being the realist. And in a world where talking heads often shout over one another just to score points, Kennedy's measured, honest response didn't just silence the room, it echoed far beyond it. It reminded viewers everywhere that intelligence comes in many forms, that dignity doesn't require credentials, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say isn't the sharpest comeback, but the truth. Spoken plainly, from the heart, because respect doesn't come from proving you're right, it comes from showing you're real.